Is Biden bumbling the U.S. into World War III? In a word, yes, absolutely. He he is like I stated before. He is burning the house down on his way out. He don't want Trump to succeed. He don't want Trump to make his administration looks like the terrible administration that it is. So he's gonna burn it all down. He's gonna leave Trump a terrible, terrible economy. He's gonna leave Trump lead us into World War III before he leaves. That's why when he brought Trump into the White House, like they do whenever they transition new presidents into office, they bring him into the White House. He was all smiles and all happy because he had this plan going and he had this in the works. He knew he was going to give Ukraine weapons to reach inside of Russia to provoke this war. So we're gonna talk about it. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account, so follow me there as well. All right, so let's get into this news. Now, this comes from Liberty Nation, from Dave Patterson, and he reports that is World War III upon us? Since President Joe Biden authorized Ukraine to use ATACMS long-range missiles, the hearts of the media chattering class have been fluttering. Prognostications, I can never say that word. Prognostications, there we go, range from one extreme to the other. Putin is all talk, or he's going to launch nuclear weapons and in the world. The reality is probably somewhere in the middle, a poorly defined place. Now, he already showed the weapon that he has. I forgot what it's called. What's that new weapon Trump released a few days ago? I can't remember the name of it. Hazel. Was it Hazel? Yeah, Hazel, where it's super duper fast. We can't detect it, and we can't stop it. And it's not even, and that is not even a nuclear weapon. And it can destroy. It can destroy a bunch of things. So Russia have technology that the world have not even seen yet, and we're sitting here poking the bear. It makes absolutely no sense. But some believes a world war is already happening. I do. I mean, we already have North Korea in there. We have China, all with Russia. So World War III, it's already happening. But when President Biden allowed Ukraine to use the American-made Army tactical missile systems, or ATACMS, Kiev forces immediately attacked, with Ukraine launching 8 supersonic missiles at Russian military facilities. The targets were in the Bryansk region, 235 miles southwest of Moscow. ATACMS missiles have a range of roughly 190 miles. Russian President Vladimir Putin reacted by revising the Russian nuclear doctrine, lowering the threshold for the Kremlin's use of atomic weapons. And the mainstream media totally ignored that. So now, basically what happens is Putin has the unilateral ability to nuke a country now. And the mainstream media is not even reporting on that. Putin also authorized the use of an experimental intermediate range ballistic missile, IRBM, in an air attack on Ukraine. That's what I was just alluding to. That's the Hazel. Reports assert that the IRBM, called Orshnik by the Russians, was based on Russian RS-26 Rusbug intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, which accounts for the initial erroneous assessments that Ukraine had been attacked by an ICBM. That word Orshnik translates into Hazel. Now, though the damages was minimal, media observers considered the use of the new missile a significant escalation in Moscow's attack on Ukraine. Nonetheless, Russia now knows the missile's accuracy and other parameters in real-time combat employment. In a television address, Putin boasted that the U.S. and European countries could not intercept it. That's something else that I just talked about a little while ago. We can't stop it, and we can't detect it. The commander of the Russian Strategic Missile Forces, quote, told Putin that the Orshnik can strike targets across Europe, and stressed that there are no analogs to the Orshnik anywhere in the world. The Institute for the Study of War, ISW, reported in its Russian offensive campaign assessment. Whether that's true or not, the U.S. has increased its shipments of anti-missile Patriot systems to Ukraine. Additionally, despite the boasting by the Kremlin leadership, ISW explained, quote, U.S. and Ukrainian reporting on the November 21st ballistic missile strike, however, emphasized that the Orsnik missile is not inherently a novel Russian capability. Consider all the foreign assistance to Russia in its unprovoked invasion of Ukraine and aperture for a more global conflict has opened. In a speech at the Ukrainska Pravda 100, struggle reading today, y'all, award event, the former commander-in-chief of the Ukraine Armed Forces explained, quote, I believe that in 2024, we can absolutely assume that World War III has begun. The reason is that in 2024, Ukraine is no longer facing Russia. Ukraine is facing soldiers from North Korea, which I was alluding to earlier. Let's be honest, Iranian-made Shaheeds loitering munitions are killing civilians in Ukraine quite openly. It's missiles made in North Korea that are being launched into Ukraine, and they are openly declaring this. Chinese-made shells are exploding in Ukraine, and Chinese parts are used in Russian missiles. Narrowly defining a world war as the number of countries involved in opposing Ukraine makes sense. Others take the threat of an expanding conflict further. Using the phrase World War III more liberally, commentators see a significant escalation with the potential for the employment of nuclear weapons. I mean, we're living in scary, scary times, and then we got the warmongers coming out pushing for this as well. It's crazy. Where are the cool heads? Where's the diplomacy? Where are the diplomats coming out saying, hey, we need to slow this down, we need to calm down, we need to reassess these things because we don't want a nuclear war? No one is coming out saying that, at least in the mainstream. That Russia used the new generation of IRBM, which is capable of carrying multiple nuclear warheads, though the recent employment of the missile carried a conventional warhead, is a sign of Putin's willingness to consider tactical nuclear weapons in the Ukraine conflict. And they still keep saying that Putin is bluffing. Putin is not bluffing. They need to stop. So they're gonna put all of our lives in jeopardy on the whims that Putin is not gonna deploy any nuclear weapons. He has no choice. Look at what we're doing to him. I mean, we have a bunch of crazy nut jobs running our world. But quote, this is another step up the escalation ladder, and no one knows where this is going, Congressman Michael Waltz, Republican from Florida, told Fox News. Waltz has been selected as President-elect Trump's national security advisor. The pundits raise a specter of nuclear war. There are still others who are more concerned. Quote, today, the world is likely closer to nuclear war than at any time since the Cuban Missile Crisis. I agree with that. In its closing days, the Biden administration is stumbling our nation into a potential nuclear war with Russia, said Michael Flynn, former national security advisor to Trump and a retired lieutenant general, in a Substack article. And I definitely agree with Lieutenant Flynn. Regardless of what you think about Flynn's assessment, hyperbole or prudent warning, the circumstances for the White House have significantly changed. There have been a lackluster response beginning over 1,000 days ago with ineffective incremental support from NATO and the Biden administration. Since then, the situation today has the U.S., all of NATO, Ukraine, Russia, Iran, North Korea, and China engaged in some manner in the conflict. Some estimates have the number of forces from the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, DPRK, as high as 30,000. Even at the more conservative 10,000 to 11,000 estimate of the DPRK combatants, the stakes for Russia and its partners have risen. Maintaining the as long as it takes Biden approach to the conflict mean there is no end in sight. And the escalation in hostilities will make negotiating a peaceful resolution more complicated for the incoming Trump administration. And that's why I think the escalation has happened here. Why Biden has ramped up things is to leave the White House in chaos. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, subscribe, and check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.